Hello, everybody. Thank you for joining us on the second episode of Conversations with Crow. And today I have a very special guest, a good friend of mine.
Hi. What's happening, man? How you doing?
Okay, so tell us a little bit about yourself. I'm gonna ask you three simple questions.
Yes.
Okay. What is your name?
Yes.
Where were you born? And what is your life purpose? And please tell us.
All right. So my name is. I got a lot of names. I'm not giving out my name on the air. So my name, my first created name is Pose2. The second created name is Maxx Moses, Mr. Maxx Moses. What's the second question?
Where were you born?
I was born in the Bronx. And raised in Yonkers, New York. And the third question is, what is my life's purpose? Haha. The $100,000 question. My life purpose is my motto, which I say I live to create, and through that motto, or through that mantra, whatever you want to call it, that slogan, I live to create is really about me as a human, about me as an artist, and just the nature of my being is here to create. And through that creativity, I feel that I inspire, that's my desire, to inspire, to uplift, and to ultimately destroy people's programmed conditioning on the way that they view, or we view ourselves, or the way that we view the world and everything around us. So yeah, that's my life's purpose. Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah.
So I'm on this quest, right, of connecting with different people of different ages, different walks of life, with the purpose, one of the purposes being sharing ideas, suggestions, insight of how we can bridge the gap between youth and adults. Okay? And so, can you share with us a little bit of how your journey was growing up? Did you have parents that propelled you, or do you feel you had parents that, give you a little bit of like pushback? What was your life like growing up?
As far as relationship with my parents, interesting question. I think that my parents were very supportive. Both parents were very supportive. My mother specifically, because she was like really pushing us to be like, don't be in the box. Do not be in the box. Do not just be one of those cats that just stand out on the corner all day. Like, just doing that. Like, have a life, have some experience, have some culture. So she really pushed us to go check out museums, and her spontaneity and everything really just kind of opened us up. She made sure we went to summer camps and just got exposed. Like, be exposed. The more that we were exposed to, she felt the richer your life was going to be.
Wow.
You know what I mean? So she was very much like, go for it. Like, see some things, man. Don't be afraid. Don't be afraid of life.
That's wild, because my mom was quite the opposite.
Okay.
She was like, no, stay home.
Oh, really?
Yeah, and I didn't go camping until I was 30-some,
Wow. Okay.
Yeah. Don't go swimming, don't go, and I understand that now, in reflection, that it was coming from a place of love, that she wanted to protect me and my other siblings, but, it took me a while to really maybe catch up to people like you that was like, go explore,
Yeah, dude, that was fiercely instilled. I got stories, man, of how, I think, my mom's, she was so tired of us always asking for money and stuff. Like, it's like, Mom, can I have money to get ice cream? Have money to get that? I'm telling you, one day she came home, and she had 2 shoe shine boxes. One for me and one for my brother. And she was like, you gonna get your own money. It's enough for you to ask me. I was just like, hell no, I ain't
How old are you?
Fucking shoes. Wow, how old was I? I was probably about 11 years old. My brother was probably 14 or something, right? I was like, I ain't gonna be out there shining no motherfucking shoes. That ain't happening. Right?
But you did.
But fortunately, the neighbor downstairs, this dude David Ruffin, he was a real street cat, right? And he told my brother, he was like, yo, because you can get paid making shiny shoes. And this dude, David Ruffin, was just a hustler. Like, he's a straight up hustler, and he's gonna make it happen, right? So he took my brother on a route, like, to all, like, the clubs where all, like, the hardcore clubs where the old school gangsters and stuff was at.
Yeah.
And he would go there, shine his shoes, and come back with loot. So my brother was like, yo, this is how we do it. I'm like, all right. But we still didn't let nobody in the building see us. We would sneak down the exit with our shoe shine boxes and everything. Like, yo, we didn't like know, you know what I mean? You didn't want nobody to know you were out shining shoes. But, yo, dude, we went out and like, yo, that was the beginning. It's like, yo, cuz, make it happen. We give back money. Going to the roughest neighborhoods, shining shoes. And the gangster cats would be like, yo, cuz, listen, you ain't doing it right. Let me show you how to do it. You know, he was like, yo, you gotta do some spit on it. Like, yo, it was like, oh, it was.
And that was my question: is how did you learn? But I guess through experience.
They taught you because I didn't know what I was doing. I was shining up people's socks and shit. They were like, yo, cousin, you getting shoe polish on my socks? Like, yo, what you doing, man? But you know what I'm saying? They admired the fact that you was a young boy out there trying to make it happen. So
that's what's up, bro.
Yeah, that was awesome. That was awesome, man.
Okay, so that was your mom. How about your pops?
My pops was just supportive. My pops was like a blue collar worker for the post office, and he was just supportive, man. What we wanted to do, he was the one taking us to camp. He was the one, like, you know, okay, so it snows in the East Coast, and like, you know, we would go sleigh ride, and there'd be little hills to go sleigh riding around the house, but it was like we would come back from our Sunday service, and there was this golf course around there. We would look like, yo, this kid's sleighboarding on the golf course. Like, that shit must be amazing because it got mad hills. Yo, pops. And he would take us, man. It's like, all right, be ready in an hour. Load up me, all the kids in the neighborhood. Everybody get their sleds. Like, take us sleigh riding. Like, he just supported. You know what I mean?
Wow.
He was supportive, man.
So what then, because you started doing graffiti, right?
Yeah, that's a whole nother world.
So it sounds like, I mean, it sounds to me that you had this very, like, I guess, propelling family, like your parents, right? Somebody that, I guess, the support that you get.
For sure.
But then you started doing graffiti.
I know.
I mean, isn't graffiti kind of like an act of rebellion?
Yeah, absolutely.
So why be rebellious when you have like the, you know, the nurturing and
because it's attractive. You know, you look at like the movies and everything. The bad guy is attractive. You know what I mean? Like, that shit was attractive. I was like, we were so good, you know. And my brother set, I think, such a high bar. You know what I mean, of excellence.
Your older brother.
Yeah, and I was like, damn, I can't compete with that. But if I do something on the opposite side, like, yeah, right? So I was seeking that attention. I was seeking it was like a twofold situation. I was seeking attention. I liked that whole attractiveness of what that whole other side was about, you know? Because you grow up good, but the bad guys look like they're having some good times over
It is attractive, yeah.
Right? I was like, I want to try that on, man. I want to be like those little dudes. Those dudes are like, they got the fresh clothes, you know, and they got the language, they got the girls. I was like, I want that life, right? I want to try that life. So,
that's too funny.
You know, like, graffiti was really, if you're really talking specifically about graffiti and writing, you know what I mean, that was really about, like, me just trying to find something to cling to that was mine.
Because your brother had this powerful presence that you felt like, okay, I need to also do me,
yeah,
and like, shine too.
Exactly. Okay. I was like, and I felt like everyone wanted me to follow exactly what he was, and I was like, dude, I can't do him. Like, that dude is killing that. Like, I can't do the same thing he's doing. I don't want to do the same thing, and I don't know what it is that I want to do. Like, I just don't know what it is. I was good at basketball, all this stuff. I was good. Anything I put my hands on, I was good at it. But I was like, ah. And then when I found writing and stuff, I was like, this kind of, I like it. And it was rebellious, and I couldn't understand. I couldn't put my finger on it at the time why. I couldn't understand why, because I was like, dude, you got a good family, a good upbringing. Why are you out there
Right.
Right.
Yeah.
And
That's my question, right? That's
Uh-huh.
why that's what I'm wondering.
I couldn't figure it out. I mean, I didn't figure it out until I got to college.
And what you conclude?
Exactly kind of what I said about in my life's purpose. Like, because like all the time that I was doing it and like I got older, college, and now I'm in college now, I'm educated, right?
Yeah.
And I'm taking philosophy classes, I'm in a fraternity, and I'm like higher learning. So I'm actually thinking about my life, right? I'm thinking about my actions and starting to read books that are spiritual books. And I was like, all right, so now I'm kind of like, so how do you account for all of what you did? Like, you destroyed a lot of property.
Yeah.
Like, how do you, what's up? You know what I'm saying? But then you talk about, like, I'm graffiti, but my art is, like it's not just write my name, it's deeper than that. Oh, really? Well, explain. I'm saying to myself, explain it to yourself.
Yeah, you're confronting you now.
Right.
Yeah.
So, I think the first thing I leaned on was phase 2.
Okay.
And his idea of saying that we shouldn't call it graffiti.
Okay.
Right? So I was like, interesting. He said, we're writers. And that changed everything. Because the fact that you're a writer, the idea that you're a writer, like, and you're a writer, you wrote a book, right?
Right.
So a writer is a person that carries intellectual property. It's a respect that is associated with it. And I was like, writer. I was like, oh shit. It makes sense. I'm a writer. So when I adopted that idea, then I was like, okay, so if I'm a writer, then everything that I was doing was not negative.
Okay.
It was against the law,
Right.
but it's not negative.
Right.
So that's what I was like, okay, I could stand on that. All right, cool. So it's not negative. So what were you doing then? Right. So in my mind, what I was doing is that physical act of writing was actually trying to destroy these concepts that the world has placed upon my creative limitations. Like, yo, you can't tell me where to create. You can't tell me how to create, what tools to use, any of that. I know you set up a structure, but me and this whole generation of people setting up a new structure.
Right.
And that was the rebellion. So it was an opportunity to rebel and to create a whole nother plateau of space. You know what I mean? We wanted to wipe out and kind of like put an end to the limitations that you put on our creativity. And we was like, nah, it ain't going down like that. We're going to paint on these trains. We're going to paint on these walls. We're going to get down. And that was powerful. And so it took years to actually understand what that was all about.
Right.
You know?
Okay.
So, yeah.
I like that. And then what, did your parents ever find out that you were out
heck
bombing
yeah,
and painting?
They were not having it. That was not, you know. I think they liked the fact and seeing what I was creating on paper and stuff at home, but coming to pick me up from precincts and stuff and getting arrested.
Because you got arrested a couple of times?
Yeah.
As a young kid or what?
Yeah. And it was all like meshed together, like, you know, graffiti, being a criminal, wanting to be a little thug, all kind of like, it all was happening simultaneously. So it was hard to separate, you know, are you just a graffiti? No, I'm robbing and stealing too. You know what I mean? So
Okay, so in one aspect you're like doing graffiti, but on another one you're also stealing and doing other things like that.
Yeah.
Okay.
So it's all kind of meshed together.
That goes back to the mentality of like, yo, that other polarity is attractive.
It's attractive, and it'll pull you in too, man, because it's very like, you know, it's like easy money. You learn how to do all these kind of things. You know, it's a very clever mentality. You know, you start really scheming.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
You become a real schemer. Yeah.
Like, yep, I remember those days.
Yeah, man, for sure.
Okay, so, but no matter what your parents told you, you were like, you know, you're just like, it don't matter, they'll get over it, that kind of attitude you had, you know?
I did, but it didn't really make sense until how, you know, I got arrested a few times and, you know, how it affected my family. You know, there was one time when my dad, I think we were in Canada, man, and I just was like this, man, I was so good, such a good thief. I was so good. I mean, I just was like, dude, what you want, I can get it. You know what I mean? And we were on a vacation, and I was just, every stop we went, I was just racking shit, blah, 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 blah. And I was in Montreal, and I just got greedy, man. I got greedy. I was just like, oh my gosh, I was telling all these like designer eyewear.
Wow.
The joints are like $400 a pair. I think I had like 4 pair of those, all this stuff. And I just took one too many, and I got arrested in Canada.
Wow.
And my dad came to get me out. And he was just like, we took you on this vacation to get you away from all of these, your little thug friends, that whole thing, and this is what you do. Like, this is what you do.
Wow.
And like, he started crying, and I was like, oh shit.
Yeah.
And that's the first time I recognized that, like, damn, it's not just all about me.
Right.
Like, what my actions are having an impact on others, you know? And then I was like, oh shit.
Yeah, it might be time to change,
like,
change a little bit.
Yo, wake up. Like, you're bugging. Like, you weren't raised this way. You know what I mean? Like, all right, I know. But fortunately, I was probably at that time like 16 years old. You know?
Okay.
And it was, I had a chance to like, you know, like shift gears, man. And right at that moment, a lot of stuff happened. That just kind of like, everything like came down like a ton of bricks. Like,
wow.
Like, you talk about karma?
Yeah, wow.
That's the first time I learned about karma. Because like the whole world shifted. Like, everything was like, yo, dude, you gonna pay for all your dirt.
Damn.
It just was like boom, boom, boom. I was just like, yo. Like, all the dirt that I was doing, like, it just came back in an instant, and I was just like, yo, dude. Yeah, and I think I was reading the Bible at the time. You reap what you sow, and I was like, "Whoa!" I'm like, "This is real." So that was like the beginning of like, you know, the wake up to be like, "Damn, I got to change up my life. This ain't it." Like this.
Yeah, interesting. Yeah, because for me it was like I started vandalizing the streets with spray paint. Because at that time it wasn't even graffiti for me. Because I was raised in El Paso and Juarez, Mexico, and there was no such thing as graffiti. It was only like block letters by gangsters and stuff like that, but the term graffiti or the concept of graffiti art or writing hadn't arrived to El Paso at that time.
Okay.
But anyway, I did it. I got into vandalizing the streets with spray paint because my parents divorced. And that was my way of like rebelling, right?
Okay.
Even though they had a very like difficult relationship between themselves, I still was like, yo, but those are my parents. Why are they divorcing? You know, and I was 13 years old, and I remember I just got a can from somewhere. I don't even remember where, and I just went out at 9 and started like writing. And my name was, I gave myself the name Bastard. Yeah, that's just how upset I was. And then I realized like, well, Bastard's too long, you know. So then I changed it to Crow. Okay. You know, and you know, but that's why I was like, yo, it sounds like you had a very like beautiful, you know, guidance and parenting, you know, and so did I, you know. But what I'm getting at is like what triggered my calling to go and write was my parents' divorce at 13. So, with that being said, in your experience, right, with being a parent and having your own parents that guided you and propelled you, what do you think? What are some ideas, suggestions that you have with regarding the questions I'm asking about how do we bridge the gap between adults and youth?
Good question.
Because, well, a little bit of context. I'm sorry. I keep talking to teenagers and adults alike where they're like, you know what? My parents just kind of kept getting in the way of my growth. Or I wanted to study music, or I wanted to study, you know, what have you, and they wouldn't allow me. They wanted me to follow what they had dreamt for me. Right? So what I'm saying is like, yo, let's tone that down and really instead just be there and support our youth, you know?
Yeah, I agree. It's interesting. I was thinking yesterday of my daughter. Yeah, I have 3 grandchildren, and I remember her raising her children early on, and I was like, yo, listen, those are not your friends. Those are your children, right? Because there was no, I felt there was no discipline. It was just a little too rampant going
Okay.
on, right? But I thought about that statement the other day, and I was like, And I was watching this young girl and her mom online at the store the other day, and they had a really nice relationship. They had a friendship.
Yeah.
You know? So there's a definite balance of like now to have a friendship with your children, but also still have a firm hand, you know, to be like the guidance, as you mentioned, the protector. Like, I'm going to guide you and make sure you don't get hurt, feed you and clothe you and all those things, but ultimately, you know, just create space. You know, create space. I think a good example was when I was in Costa Rica, and I met this gentleman, and he had like I think a 10-year-old son at the time, who they said was an artist, and I was like, really? They showed me all his paintings, and I went to their house, and me and the 10-year-old collaborated together.
I remember
right?
that.
It was
really
awesome,
cool.
And I was just like, dude, like, and this was a really wealthy family, right? But they didn't behave in some kind of like, you know, egocentric way. They were supernatural. They were just like, I really admired the way that, you know, they allowed him to have his freedom and be who he likes to be, and you know, and just enjoy his space and time and where he is as a child. You know what I mean? And they just supported that. Like, yo, you want to be an artist? All right. So we'll get you a studio. We'll get your studio in the house so you can paint all you want. What else you want to do? You need a place to show your work. All right. So we'll get you a gallery. Wow. And here's a gallery to show his work. And I mean, and that's it on the affluent scale, right? But that doesn't mean that doesn't transcend to a situation where people don't have that kind of access to resources.
Right.
You can still have that mentality. You know what I mean? Of just like, yo, so you want to do art? Here's paper. Here's pencil.
Right.
You want to show art? We'll show it at your school. Like, you know, you can still have that mentality. So that was refreshing. That was real refreshing to see, you know, because I was like, yeah, that's awesome.
You think it has, well, I think you're tapping on that is like how maybe it has to do with some parents because they were raised, you know, like maybe with very little money.
Of course, dude.
And then they, out of protection, they want to like, hey, well, you need to do this so that way you don't, you know.
You have money so you can take care of yourself.
So you're not like me.
Be a doctor, be such and such, so you can have the access, the resources, and you can live your life.
So that comes from that, you think,
Yeah, of course it does. Of course it does. And that is understood. It's understandable. You know what I mean? Like, hey, get a good job.
Yeah.
You know? So now I think that we're wanting to find there's a balance of where you can, you know, have a healthy life. Because it's interesting now I see people who do have good jobs, friends of mine, that some of them have children, some of them don't have children. I feel like the main thing that people are looking for now, what they use their money for now, is experiences.
Yeah.
Like, people want to have experiences. I think in the past, people wanted to buy a lot of stuff.
Yeah, that's changing.
That's changing. People want experiences. They want to have that. And that's similar to us as artists, you know, like the path that I took is like, dude, I'm having experiences first.
Yeah.
Like that, I want to live, like, that's what feeds me, like, that's what keeps me alive. The experiences is what enriches my life, you know? So I want to provide that for my children. I want my children to have as many experiences, just so my mother had that same foresight to be like, yo, the experiences are going to, like, enrich your life, you know? Like,
they make you grow.
They make you grow. You have stories to share, because I was just thinking about the other day of, like, you know, my dad's 90th birthday is coming up this week, right? And a lot of my friends are coming to celebrate it. And I was like, yeah, let's get together so we can make memories. Like, because that's all we really do in this life. All we're really doing is making memories.
Yeah.
Right? We're making memories. We're having these experiences. Some of them are so powerful that we'll never forget. Like, I tell you the story of the shoe shine situation, right? That's an unforgettable experience. That's a memory that's just, like, so powerful. It's going to stay with you forever. So, like, yeah, right now, I live to create. So what am I creating? I want to create these spectacular experiences, you know?
That's what's up, man. And that's something, obviously, you're sharing with your kids.
Yeah, for sure. And you, too. I mean, you just took your whole family to Brazil.
Yeah. Well, That's important.
You took your whole family to Brazil. It was a project that was your project, right?
Right.
And you were like, yo, nah, all y'all lasting you up.
There was a couple of things about that. It's like, I've been wanting to go to Brazil for years now. So, and Irene, my partner, knew that. So then when I told him, like, yo, I just got invited to go to Brazil. She's like, oh, Brazil? Oh, okay, that's all right, cool. I'm like, well, it sounds like you would like to
kind of
go.
feel a little jelly, huh?
Well, just kind of like, have fun, But I'm like, no, we should go. Let's just start saving up. Because the other thing is like, I want my daughters to also like grow up with that polarity understanding of like, yo, there's contrast. Outside our beautiful bubble here at home,
right?
It's different.
Right.
Like right here, you get a lot of love, you get well fed, you get, a lot of, support.
Right.
But out there, it's different.
Right.
And being in Sao Paulo, Brazil, they saw that like a lot of homelessness, which same thing here in San Diego, there's a lot of homelessness, but we were, the first Airbnb that we stayed at was literally like kind of like a skid row. We stayed there, we walked down, and it was like just masses of immigrant homeless people, And we were just walking by, but my 7-year-old daughter Galaxy was like, why are they homeless? Like, where's their home? So then we had to have these conversations, and they were like, this is this is part of the reality that we're living in right now, But it was good to see her, because then she was like, since she loves doing crafts and building little things with her hands, she was like, well, when I get older, I want to build a space for them so that way they can live there. So she right away was like activated, like, well, how can I help?
Interesting.
So that was nice, man.
That's awesome. Yeah, dude. Those experiences, that's what we learn from. This is our existence, man. Experiences, memory, you know what I mean? But also being able to keep, as Picasso would say, a blank canvas, like a mental blank canvas.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Not, so you can continue to have new experiences, and those experiences are not just based upon your past ones.
Right.
If you have this bad experience, like, I'm not going over there anymore.
Yeah.
Remember what happened the last time? Like, it's like, okay, it's another day.
Yeah.
Situations may have changed.
Yeah.
And I was thinking about that today, just like, the challenge, like my mental challenge is like, how to keep a blank canvas, how to make enough space, and go beyond my past experiences, not only with myself, like, looking at my own thought process.
Yeah.
Like, come on, dude, you're in that space again. Like, how do you actually have enough awareness to see that you're in that space? And how do I relate to you after you hurt me? Right? How do I interact with you again? Because you did something that's foul, and I just don't dig it. But there's a connection that we have, that there may be some reason that we may have to interact with each other. So how do I go beyond that, successfully?
What did you come up with?
Oh, wow. That's the challenge. That is the challenge. So I thought about something else today. I thought about, the concept of raising consciousness. So remember this thought, because I'm going to spew off and then you got to bring me back. Okay?
Okay.
So, I thought about this idea. You always hear this thing about you gotta raise your consciousness, right?
Right.
So I associate that with like going to the gym. Like when you go to the gym, you gotta raise the weights. You have to work at it to raise it, right?
Yeah.
So in meditation, I try to meditate a few moments a day, and they always say that you should focus like here. And in the process of doing that, it's like, I'm attempting to raise my consciousness, and it feels like, the drain. Like, say that this is a drain, right?
Okay.
And there's a cover on it, right? So then I focus, and it feels like this opens, right? And and this is like me raising my consciousness, allowing me to take my thoughts and everything to another space, to a higher space. Instead of like me getting pulled into my own negative routine way of thinking. You know what I mean? And that's just like, yo, raise it. So it takes work to actually raise your consciousness.
Yeah, it does.
it's like, you know, and that might be, raising your conscience might be just to try to just breathe and pay attention to your breathing. Just to be like, yo, dude, I want to get out of my memory.
Yeah.
Of like, yo, Crow said this shit the other day. Like, yo, okay, dude, I know that was yesterday.
That was 10 years ago. Yeah.
That was 10 years ago. Right. Right. How do I allow that to, like, yo, you know, to move on with it? But that doesn't mean that you move on with it, like, blindly or stupidly either. Like, it doesn't mean that, like, I wouldn't protect myself from somebody that's trying to hurt me mentally, physically, or emotionally. But it doesn't mean I have to live through the memory of the pain of it all the time either, you know?
Right.
So... All right, so where am I supposed to get back to?
Which brings us back exactly where you're saying is like, so what did you figure out for yourself? What do you do to get to move past that? So that way you're not stuck in that memory. What do you do?
Yeah, I meditate. That's one thing. It helps me just, because even if those thoughts are there, at least meditation will quiet it. It's not such a it's not screaming at me. You know what I mean? It's quiet, and that way I can relate to a little with more ease. If that makes sense, you know, because they might not, my feelings to that person may not totally dissipate. Yeah. They might not go away, but they won't be so loud. It won't be. It's not that big anymore. Before it was big. It was a big deal. Yeah. Right. Yeah, now it's just like, oh, okay.
Yeah. It's digestible. It's like, okay. It's all, maybe that also goes hand in hand with the whole mentality of like scarcity. Like from, let's say an example, I grew up very poor. Right. Right. And now it's still in my mind, like I'm always working hard and I was trying to tell my kids, hey, do this, do that, be a doctor. But maybe, just maybe, if I were to, like you said, open, you know, the what was it?
The valve.
The valve. Right. You know, so that way then I can go beyond that mentality of just thinking of the grind, of always just thinking that work. Right. And maybe then that can then be open and be like, yo, to clarity of other ways, other options, you know? Absolutely. Because I think we get stuck, I think when people hurt us and cause trauma on us, but also experiences that have caused trauma, as, you know, that, like, you know, I come from nothing, you know, and my parents come from nothing. So what my mom always would tell me was like, look, we have nothing, but the only thing that you have right now is your word. Honor your word, be a man of your word. And even that, for a while, was very difficult for me, you know, because like you said, you know, the contrast, you know, the being on the dark side of things is quite beautiful too, you know, and it's elegant and it's attractive, and so I for some time went that route, you know, and you know, cheating, lying, and you know, being deceitful, not honoring my word, you know, and then I think with time, I just, similar to what you were saying about your dad, I realized how many people I was hurting by my own lack of, you know, being an honest man, you know? Right. So I think maybe then meditating to then open that valve or that spout or how you named it, then we can go beyond that. Just being, like, I feel we reach a certain plateau. It's like, even when we meditate, like you're saying, like, oh, that's all I can. It's like, no, go. Open. But it's work.
It takes work.
It's work.
It takes work. But it's good. It doesn't take a whole lot, though. Sometimes you can just sit down for 5 minutes, 10 minutes, and just like, all right, you just turn the volume down. That's really all you're doing is like turning the volume down.
I had noticed one time you posted on Facebook how you said something like, I don't know if it was through yoga or through meditation, but you said something about, because you do both, and you said something like, man, this is taking work. And one of your friends that I guess he's like a master yoga instructor or you know, he's into meditation, he wrote, if it's taking work, then you're not doing it right. And that for me was like, oh snap, okay, like that, because it spoke to me. Because I do feel like, for me it takes work, daily work, moment to moment. You know, especially with my kids. You know, I have kids that one moment I'm focused on a piece of artwork, and next moment I have my daughters like, hey dad, and they just want to say hi, they just want to give me love, but at that moment I can see it as like they're interrupting my flow of thought and creativity, or embrace that.
Of course.
But it takes, for me, it takes work. Right. But when I read that, I was like, oh, okay, like it shouldn't take work. Right. Interesting.
It's interesting that, so I would take that as like I would interpret that as like you shouldn't be struggling.
Okay.
That would be my, because I had to ponder that too, you know. I was like, really, what you talking about? You know.
Okay. And everybody goes at their pace too, though.
Yeah, it's like you know what's like my interpretation would basically be like to not struggle, don't struggle through it. I just had something else I was thinking about earlier today. I wanted to touch on too. It eluded me. No, it was really awesome, man. It's this real awesome concept I wanted to talk about, man. It'll come back, hopefully.
So, any other thoughts? Any other suggestions? You know, regarding like the gap between youth and adults.
There it is. Dang.
Talk to me.
Thank you. Managing the gap. You just think I knew it. So like that's the challenge now. That's the challenge. Is like managing the gap.
Elaborate.
Managing the gap. Damn, Crow. That's really what I'm really paying attention to right now. Is like, you know, so you're on a good one. You're flowing, right? Things are happening, and then you're doing something else, and then like, okay, your mind's like, yeah. Whoa, hey, hold on, stop it. Don't go there. Like, how do you manage the gap? So it's interesting because I remember when I first moved to California, right? And my friends Chella and another girlfriend, Alicia, they were very helpful with me, and I would like, I don't know, I was a very like angry, frustrated, you know, all these kind of emotions would come up, and they would help me out with stuff, and I'd be on a good one, boom, boom. Then I go into a funk, and I'd be there for like, I was like, I'll see you later, maybe 2 days, so right, it's like I'm in this funk, but after hanging out with them, that gap would reduce. Then it went down to 1 day. Then it went down to like 8 hours, right? Then it went down until I could manage that gap. It took years for me to manage that gap.
Wow.
Am I making sense? Of being
Absolutely.
on a high, being in the flow, and then totally leaving that space and be like, yeah.
Like something mentally disrupts it, or somebody says something and triggers you.
And be gone. Yeah. And it's funny because my ex-wife used to tell me like, dude, you be gone for a week.
Whoa.
Like, you be gone for a week. And I was like, damn. So now it's like seconds. Like, you know what I mean? Like, yo, dude, all right, whoa. Get out of that space. Like, think of something else. Change that. So yes, now it's about managing the gap, man, because I just want to stay in this frequency of awareness, of alertness, of openness, of, you know, of the flow. And I learned that. It's funny because I learned about being in the flow when I was doing all my thug shit. Right? Because, right. Dude, you have to be keen and aware, otherwise you're getting arrested. Right? Or you're going to get busted. So you have to be in the flow. So it's interesting, being in that dark energy it's a great place to learn.
Yeah, I agree with that.
Yeah?
I agree with
That's
that.
what taught me to flow.
Well, and see, that's where it's kind of interesting, because maybe we do need that contrast. And maybe we do need parents to put a halt. I don't know. So maybe I'm kind of going in circles. That's what I'm saying with my own quest of like, how do we, you know, bridge the gap between adults and youth? Maybe there should be that gap initially. And then as we become adults ourselves, right, then we need to then maybe forgive, right? Maybe meditate, maybe let go of that past and allow those lessons. So whatever trauma I have, okay, see it as that and honor it, okay, but then also not being stuck on that and being like, what did I learn from it? What was the lesson behind that? And then using that to propel me forward. I don't know. You know, it is something that I'm in question, and that's why I'm doing these interviews.
Okay. About your own parenting techniques?
I think in general.
Okay.
I think in general of like I know for me, I manage myself, my mind daily, moment to moment, so that way I'm present for my 4 kids,
right,
as much as possible.
Right.
And when I can't, then I try and figure out a way where I can, you know?
Right.
Anyhow, but what I'm getting at is that like I just seen it repeat in a lot of other people, where it's affecting them currently as youth, and they're sharing that with me of like, hey, you know what, I can't really speak to my parents because they don't want to hear it. You know, the way they tell me is that they're the adults. They tell me what's the right thing for me. And then I've talked to adults, you know, our age, where there's like, you know what, I went to university just to honor my parents, but that's not what I want to do.
Mm-hmm.
And now I just feel it's too late to do anything else. You know, things like that I encounter just from my passion to learn from people, you know, and I just go around and talk to people about these things.
Got it. Yeah, it's hard to just kind of like categorize the whole situation and tie it up in a bow and say this is
That's true.
the resolve, you know?
I'm saying that true.
It's like, because, you know, what comes to mind is trust. Like, whatever you want to call it, the creator, the universe is all designed. Everything, this is how I look at life. Everything is specifically designed for you.
Yeah.
Everything, every minute detail is specifically, so if your parents are hard and do that, that's exactly what you need.
Right.
Like, everything is without a doubt. With that mentality, like, you actually understand the concept of God. Like, God, like, dude, I got you.
Yeah.
I provided everything for you.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. Ups and downs.
The whole thing is dialed in. Like the leaf on a flower, like a beautiful flower. Every petal is beautiful, just like it's all like specifically designed. So pay attention to it and learn from it. Like, learn from all of it. Like the parent that doesn't listen, that curses you out, that does it. That's exactly, I gave that to you. Specifically for you. That's exactly what you needed. That's how I interpret it.
Okay. So as general advice that to share with the peeps out there, you would say trust. Like, trust your path.
Yeah, absolutely.
And learn from that path.
Absolutely. I would say that, yeah. And learn from it. The good, the bad, and the ugly. Get past the, you know, I think some of the hardest things that we have challenges is getting past is our likes and dislikes.
How do you?
Fuck those likes and dislikes. Like, I don't like this person. Yeah, but that person that I don't like is the best fucking teacher. That dude has taught me so much about myself.
Yeah, yeah.
I hate that dude.
Yeah, they're like the master teachers.
Right?
Yeah.
But I have to, like, thank you.
Yeah.
Because through our experience, I've learned so much about myself. You know what I mean? So that's what I'm saying. Everything is dialed in specifically for you. We have to just look past our likes and dislikes and our conditioning and all that kind of stuff, and just like, what's the lesson? You know, like, thank you. You motherfucker. Right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
You send them an FU letter instead of a thank you letter. You're like, FU, thank you.
Yeah.
Nice, man. Cool, bro. Well, I know you gotta get going.
Yeah, man. Thank you, man. I enjoyed this.
I do have towards the end of the segment that if you want to ask any questions to my spirit guide, or have a conversation, it doesn't have to be advice or anything. Just it's a little, if you want, or.
Your spirit guide, is he here? Yes?
I mean, I tap in and sometimes
spirit guide
comes through, sometimes he doesn't.
Tell me about the next woman in my life. You know, we'll go there, brother.
And you know what's funny is that there's this little fly that's been living in this room, and he just wants to make a presence. But anyhow, well, like the way it works for me is like it's in the moment, you know. So is that what it's in your heart in the moment? Like, you want to discuss like women?
Always.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think if there's always been because I always look at life as relationships, you know. Life is always about relationships, and for me, in my relationship with women has always been challenging. You know, I think I've always kind of looked at that situation as you know, I've always looked at that situation from a pimp's mentality.
Explain.
From a mentality of like, yeah, what are you gonna do for me? Basically, you know.
Where did you get that from?
Oh, some pain. Well, where did I get that from? like from pain, from being hurt in the past, and being like, oh man, like really, this is how it goes.
By women?
Yeah, this is how it goes, man. I ain't never given my heart to a woman, dude. Are you crazy?
What was her name?
I don't want to mention her name because she passed away. So I just don't feel that would be respectful, you know?
So she like cheated on you, or she like, what did she do? What did she do to hurt you so much?
She just moved on. She just was like, you know, like, oh, like we were seeing each other, and then she kind of just moved on to this other cat when I was in school, and I was like, oh shit. I was like, what? How you gonna, what? Like, oh shit. And she told me, and I was like I kind of seen evidence, and she told me, and I was just like, damn. And it just, you know, after that, I was just like, yo, dude, I'm not investing my energy in a woman like that ever again.
How old were you?
Like 21, maybe.
So this is college.
20. Yeah, it's college days. So after that, dude, I think I was reading like a lot of Donald Goines books and stuff like that. I don't know if you're hip to Donald Goines. If Donald Goines is like a pimp and all these pimp books, and I was just like, this is it. This dude got it dialed in. Like,
because what does he talk about? About pimping women?
Yeah, like pimping, how to treat them and stuff like that. And I was like, okay, that was like my Bible. And I was like, oh shit, like this stuff works too. Works, man. It was like good. I was like, yo.
And you know what else works?
What?
Karma.
Yeah.
Which you learned at 16, right? Which you learned at 16, right? That was maybe a lesson that you forgot about. It's like, yo, karma is in full effect too.
Yeah.
You know? And that I think really it's just a reminder. It's like, look, what you said, what you reap, or what is it? What you sow is what you reap. Yeah. That's what it is, man. You know that. I think that for me personally, what I did is I went to each woman I hurt, and I asked for forgiveness, and that was that. You know, like. And it wasn't about them forgiving me. It was about me truly being like, yo, I forgive myself, and I'm asking you to forgive me. And it didn't matter what they said. You know, it was just for me to kind of like, yo, listen, I know I hurt you, and I'm sorry. And because, like I said, I like, you know, my master teacher was my dad, and he was a womanizer, and I think he still is, you know, but that's him, see? But I learned from observation, and I kind of pursued those shoes, and something very similar happened to me where it was like a woman, a young girl in high school did something similar. She ended up sleeping with some of my friends, you know, and I got tainted. You know, my heart got tainted. I was like, whoa, here I am, like, open for this girl, and she's just, like, stomping on me. But then, same thing. I learned about karma, and I learned about, like, you know what? I'm only hurting myself. You know, it's worth mentioning that when I was growing up as a kid, right, a little boy, my mom and dad would always fight. You know, and you know this story, and they would duke it out. They would fight, physical fights, and then my dad would leave, or the police would take my dad, and then I would be there as a little boy and go caress my mom, and I would, like, you know, try and be a healing agent for her. And later in time, I noticed something that I was doing. I was hurting women purposely, like with my words, with my actions. Never hit them, but just with my words and in my actions, just to feel that pain. Does that make sense? Just to feel that similar pain that I saw my mom go through as a little boy. It's a very twisted and dark mentality I had. But again, it was attractive to me to be able to see another woman cry just as hard as my mom because of my actions. So then I started to try. I had to figure out how to get out of that
cycle.
because I kept repeating it.
Interesting.
And there's still remnants.
Mm-hmm.
Because, I'll give you an example. Yesterday we went to a birthday party. And there's this beautiful girl. But I'm not attracted to her physical. I'm attracted to her pain. Mm-hmm. And I'm just hypnotized by her.
Okay.
But like you, I've been managing the gap. I've been managing my mind.
Right.
That I'm like, whoa, wake up. What are you doing? What are you doing? Wake up. Later that night, yesterday night, I was helping Irene, wash some dishes, put some stuff away. She's like, hey, do you like that girl? And she said her name, and I'm like, I do like her. I like her a lot. I like her pain. I like that her suffering. Mm. And something about her suffering is triggering me quite a lot. Mm. So it's best that for right now, I keep my distance. Mm. Because I know it's very easy for me to manipulate that. Right. Why put myself there? Right. I'm not mentally, physically, spiritually ready to confront that head on right now.
I hear you.
So Irene was like, well, you should go with her. And I'm like, if it was true love, if it was true, then that's one thing. Right. And I'm like, and that's what I have with you. That's what I've cultivated with you. Right. But it's not.
Right. No, that's very valid, dude. And I see that in relationships that I've had too. I'm just like, what's the attraction? And I was like, yeah, I see what the attraction is. You see, you're attracted to that whole. And I've been in situations where I've seen women like, yo, yeah, we're attracted to each other, and I was like, yo. And they would be sitting somewhere in the far, and I stand far, and I was like, okay, now look. Like, look, really look at her. What do you see? Like, really look. And I was like, oh, shit. Okay. All right, I see it. Right? And I've been in situations like, all right, me and you can't do anything. Because I see what it is,
The other option is, yo, this is what I'm working, like from the gate, honesty, right? Yo, this is what I'm working on myself. Where are you at? And then you'll know if that person is ready.
If they're down, if they're doing that kind of work too.
And then you work together, man. Because that's what happened to Irene and I. We were both going through it. And we had a choice. The choice was we can separate and go on and continue that pattern with other people, period. Right. We were, Right. Or I told her we can confront it and work through it together. What do you say? And she's like, okay.
That's pretty hip. That's
so
cool.
That's advice for the next lady that you meet, just from the gate. Yo, what are you working through? I'm down if you want to work, but I know, just FYI, it's a lot of work, as you know. Ideas.
I like it.
Thank you, bro.
Thank you, man.
Appreciate you, bro, and thank you for everything.
My phone's been going
It's buzzing.
crazy.
It's buzzing. Yeah, it's time to go.
It's time to roll.
Yeah. Thank you. I'll put Maxx Moses Instagram. If you're not, I'm sure you're already following him, but if you're not, yo, please.
That was deep.
Thank you, brother. Appreciate you, man.
Peace.